Hi, this is Nathan Win from Inomatic LLC. Today's videos will be on function in PowerApps. Functions are a set of codes or instructions that can be reused. When you call a function, you need to pass in the parameters or variables, and then based on the instruction, the function will analyze the passing data and carry out the codes. Function is great to use because it reduces the amount of codes, and when you need to make changes to the instruction, you make changes in a single place. Let's get right to it. Let's take a look at an example. Here I have two text boxes and a drop down of math operators. If I have 20 plus 15, calculate 35, subtraction 5, multiplication 300, division 1.33. Here are the controls for the example. We have the value 1, value 2 text box, the drop down where I specify the 4 basic operators in the item property. We have the result that display after we hit the calculate button here. As you see, I specify the control type at the end of each control so I know exactly what they are. Let's take a look at the onSelect property of the calculate button. First, I set the var result to 0. Var value 1, I take whatever the input in the var1 text box control and convert it to number. I do the same for value 2. I set the operation to the drop down selected value. As you see here, right now the multiplication is the selected value. And then after that, I just put in a switch. A switch is just like an if statement. So for the switch, evaluate the var operation. If it the addition, I simply set the value to value 1 plus value 2. Same thing for the other three. Now, as for displaying the result, in this result label, I say the result of the value from text box value 1, the operator, the values of value 2 text box equal to the result. So now if I hit calculate, you see that value 1 has the value of 20, the operation is multiplication, value 2 is 15, and the result is 300. Now everything works as expected because you put the code in this button. However, if you need to replicate this, the redundancy is on this calculate button because you would have run the same switch operation here. Now, for this type of example, it's not too much. But what if you have something is more elaborate, more complex, and then when something's go wrong, you need to upload and maintain codes, similar codes on both buttons, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. So we should put this part here into a function, and when we call it, regardless which button we click, which you need to call the math operation, it would do the calculation and return the result here. So let's proceed with that. For function, I use the toggle control. Toggle control is just like a checkbox where you see on, off, true, false. I will name this function math, and in the onChange property, I will paste in the switch function. In the calculate button here, I will remove the switch function. I just call the function instead by making an onChange event on this toggle. So this toggle here take true false value. So I simply set var function math. You can name it anything you want, but I just wanna make sure I can trace back what I'm calling var on math, meaning I am going to trigger the on change of this toggle control, and I set it to opposite of itself. So what this is doing is, this is a Boolean data type, and I simply set itself to opposite of itself, hence creating a change. And in the toggle control, in the default property, I set to this var function math. So here, if I change the value 2 to 25 and hit calculate, you can see the toggle was from off to on, and the result is 500. Let's take a look here. Up to this point, there's nothing have changed since the last time we saw it. But on default, when we initialize a Boolean, the value was false. And when we set it to opposite of itself, it becomes true. In this toggle control, the default value when we initialize it was false, and then we set it to opposite itself to true. Therefore, it runs the onChange codes, and it simply take in the operation, see which one it is, and calculate out the value. In the second calculate button, we do the same thing by replacing the switch function to set run function math to opposite of itself. If we test it out, 35 minus 15, and if we hit calculate, it should get us a value of 20. And this was off to on. If we hit calculate on the first button, we get -5 and it go back to off. So we have successfully reused the switch function twice over, and the only thing changed is when you call the function, you need to pass in the values you want it to calculate. And so conceptually, I hope you understand the usefulness of the function. The toggle is just my choice. You can use a button and call the button by use the select and the button name, and that would do the same thing. So if you find this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. It's free to you and it helped me. See you on the next video. Bye bye now.